All right, welcome in, hockey fans, to another episode of the Pro Hockey West Report. Scott Strandy with you today, and a drying out Denver after not even two, about a day and a half of ridiculous rain here in the Front Range of the Rocky Mountains. Nick Maxon with me from Minnesota, to my as you're looking at me, to my left, and down below, Stephen Marsh, our Vegas guy. Guys, welcome in. How's your week's been? I should say.
Pretty good, Scott. It's more seasonal temperatures now here in the Twin Cities. It's been mid to upper 70s, low 80s, which means it's getting closer and closer to the ever-changing winds of fall, and it's going to feel even closer. And Scott, you would know this well, being lived here in Minnesota for some time. The Great Minnesota Get Together. Not that far away, 9 days away from its opening venture. Got a little love from Stefan Diggs, too, the former Viking receiver now in Buffalo. For those who haven't been to it, it is worth the hype. Check it out. But it's starting to feel more like things are cooling down, Scott.
Steven, you know that's the state fair he's talking about, right?
Sure. We'll go with that.
To give Steven a little insight, and for those who don't know, the foods are pretty much all on a stick, so it's grab and walk and go. It's let's just say that's the great tasting stuff, not necessarily the best for your calorie count. It's
I've been to a state fair too. There's a lot of good stuff at state fairs. Yeah,
this one will attract close to what, Scott? 2 million visitors in about 10 days.
I believe so. Yeah,
average
crazy.
attendance per day is about 200,000 to 250,000. So it's a packed spectacle. It's wonderful. I take the crowds with a grain of salt. This is what it is, but the food and the fanfare, always a good time.
Absolutely. Steven, what's going on in Vegas?
Well, I should be asking you, Scott, have you built that ark yet? With all the rain you've been getting in Denver, you might need one soon. Well, we've had some rain here too. We've had some rain here too in Vegas. The monsoon season very active here in Las Vegas this summer, and we had some really cool lightning on Monday night. It was really cool, and we've had some really strong storms a couple of the nights, and it's caused some flooding for some of the casinos. You really find out why your hole, so to speak, in your properties when you have these kind of storms, because we haven't had storms like this in a long time when it comes to monsoons and stuff. So they probably haven't felt like they needed to fix anything, but now they'll look at some things and see what can be done. But
I'm going to say, rumor has it that you've been wanting like 2 years worth of rain to fill up that lake. And I'm talking about Lake Mead. So I'm blaming it on you. I don't know. I mean, you got broad shoulders. So.
That's fine. We need all the water we can get. We need all the water we can get, especially as we're being looked to be cut down on the water we get. We need it.
I'll tell you a quick story, both of you. I was probably 4 or 5 miles from my hotel, and it started to rain, and I'd seen it on radar that it was coming this way, so I was on my way. But I was only like 6-7 minutes away, and it poured so hard that when I got about half a mile from my hotel, water started flowing so hard it was moving me from lane to lane. And when I finally got in, I couldn't get out of the car because it was pouring rain. I only had like 50 yards to go, but when I finally decided, okay, I can't sit here all day, I jumped out and I was absolutely drenched in a 50-yard sprint to the front of the hotel. It was unbelievable.
I would have loved to see that on video.
Yeah, nobody would have. But anyway, I heard reports of 5 inches in 2 hours in some parts of the Denver area. And then they said it would all be over by midnight last night. 3 o'clock this morning, I hear rain, and I'm going like, what's this? So I look on the radar, and I see the radar backed up all the way through the state of Colorado. And it literally started at 3 in the morning and it lasted till like 11 or 12 or around noon before it ended. So we got probably where I'm at, we probably got 4 inches in 24 to 36 hours, something like that, which is a lot of water no matter what you do. But there were places that flooded yesterday that there was a gas station where it was up to the door handles of the cars at the gas station. And it happened, it flash flooded so fast. It was like a matter of 15, 20 minutes. So anyway.
That's crazy.
All right. So, Nick, you had a chance to get out to WD League, and Vegas fans, Minnesota fans, anybody that's a fan of hockey is going to love the interview you got, even though it may not be the world's longest video I hear. But tell us who it was, and everybody's eyes are going to light up in Vegas, including Stephen Marsh.
Minnesota Wild fans will recall this name, and maybe not for the best reasons of the transaction. Got a chance to sit down with Eric Holla briefly at the Dubuque League. Now, again, for those who don't know what it is, it's a charity league. It's a summer league wanting to expose the game of hockey to the community. It's held at Braemar Arena, which is in Edina, Minnesota. It's just south of Minneapolis, about 15-minute drive. Very prominent high school hockey program also in Edina, the Hornets, as we call them. And what's cool about this is, first of all, the tickets that you purchase, the proceeds all go to charities. And the other part of it is all the players after their games. There's 3 games a night. Right now they're doing Mondays and Wednesdays for the coveted John Scott Cup. All the players will essentially go through this giant street where the kids will line up, and the players are very good at going through the line, signing autographs on whether it's hats, pucks, jerseys. And so it's very much a fan interactive, type event. And again, when you can give back to the community and you can grow the game like that, that's kind of what the Dubuque League is about. And for the players, as you'll hear here in the interview with Eric Hall, a good way to kind of get back in the swing of things, get a little bit of that gamesmanship going, and also have a lot of fun with it too.
Okay, well, let's listen to that interview, and then we'll come back and we'll move on and start talking some AHL hockey.
Located 15 minutes outside of downtown Minneapolis, Dubuque League brings fans and players together for a little summer hockey.
Yeah, it's an awesome, fun way to get back into it, and it's great conditioning and just feel the puck and make some plays, which makes it fun. And then later it goes and intensity picks up a little bit where guys start trying a little bit harder, and so I love it.
Originally founded in 2015, Dubuque League invites NHL players from both the United States as well as Canada to grow the game of hockey. All proceeds from ticket sales, concessions, and merchandise also go to hockey nonprofits.
No, it's good. I mean, that's what makes it even more fun too, and honestly makes you try harder as well. You don't want to look too bad out there in front of all the fans, so it's fun, and give a little back to the kids is great too.
Since its inception, Dubuque League has grown immensely in popularity, bringing both diehard hockey fans as well as new fans to the rink. And for the kids, come out, see some games, watch their favorite players, get some autographs, and for the parents, maybe a cool place to escape that intense summer heat.
Well, it's just kind of whatever you want to make it, but like I said, it's just a fun way, good conditioning. And we see a lot of familiar faces here, and we have fun with each other, so it's awesome.
For the players themselves, the games are played at 4-on-4, which means there's lots of open ice for plenty of goal scorings, which appeases the fans. The penalty box is the only penalty box that has a keg of beer, but don't tell the players that, because although this is summer hockey, they still want to win it all.
I guess the one moment is losing on Monday was our first loss, so remembering that was tough.
The Dubuque League also has a playoff system, and the winner of those playoffs wins the coveted John Scott Cup, where there's no question the real winner are the fans and the game of hockey. Reporting from Edina, Minnesota, I'm Nick Maxon. And then outro.
Okay, we're back, folks. Hope you enjoyed that interview with Eric Holla. I'll give you a little backstory. The first interview I did in Las Vegas when the Golden Knights came into existence, if you will, I gravitated to Nate Schmidt and Eric Holla because of the Minnesota ties, and always gracious, always ready to talk. And I know Stephen can attest to this. The Vegas medieval maniacs really loved having Eric Holla on the roster. He was just one of those guys that you fall in love with when you watch his game. So nice stuff, Nick. Good job. Stephen, your thoughts on Eric Holla?
No, absolutely. Eric Holla is still well liked in Vegas, and I'm sure Eric Holla has still fond memories of Vegas. In fact, Riley Smith hosts a charity softball game that takes place during the summertime here at the ballpark, the home of the AAA baseball team here, and they play against players representing the Raiders football team, the NFL team, and And I think Eric Hall, even though he's not a member of the Golden Knights anymore, he still comes and participates in that event with Riley Smith. Also, Nate Schmidt has come and participated in that as well. So obviously they are still fond. In fact, I found out that that Nate Schmidt still has a house in Vegas, or he bought a house here. So he spends some time here in the off season when he's not. So when he was here for the thing, he just was able to stay at his house. So that's nice. But yeah, so it's Eric Hall. I mean, I think the fan base here always is going to have a fondness of the original Misfits from the first season, especially the magical run they made to the Stanley Cup final and everything. And even though the players have gone on to other teams, whether decisions the Golden Knights organization has made or because of whatever the situation is, they're still looked fondly of that first year team is always going to have a special place in the Medieval Maniacs' hearts.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got that out of the way. Got the best to start the show tonight. So nice job, Nick. We'll move on, and tonight I want to talk a little bit about some of the transactions and some of the things that are happening, because a lot of people, especially in the AHL guys, they don't know what goes on in the off season. They think, things don't really get going again until they get on the ice, but that's not the case. They're building rosters. They're building their schedule. They're talking about their new mascots in some cases. They're talking about a variety of things. So I want to talk about that, but before we get into it, let me start off with the Tucson Roadrunners, because a big day today for a good friend of mine, Steve Potvin, officially named the head coach of the Tucson Roadrunners for the second time. He'll be officially announced to the public and the media tomorrow. I had a chance to just text back and forth with him a little bit today, and hopefully we'll get him on the show. I told him that he would be seeing a lot of me, since Tucson and Colorado are the two teams that I have on the Pro Hockey West report. So looking forward to that. We'll get a lot of great insight. He's a great guy, great communicator, terrific coach. He was through a very strange situation where he was the interim coach during the pandemic, and then was replaced by somebody, and he hung on as an assistant. Now that guy left, and he's back again as a head coach. So talk about perseverance, talk about stick-to-itiveness, I guess is a good word for it. But congratulations to Steve Potvin. The Roadrunners, and I'm going to jump into this right away, because the Roadrunners are one of the teams that are a very, very low-budget AHL team, if I can say that. But, boy, they are always on the Twitter. They're always on their website doing something with the community. They're one of the biggest community-driven AHL teams, I think, out there, because they have to be, right? That's how they get their fan support and their corporate dollars is by being out in the community. So you'll see them all the time, year round. Dusty the Roadrunner gets out and does stuff, and they put on a really good their own video feature. They talk about a lot of their players during the off season, new guys that are coming in. So while we don't really have rosters and things to talk about, I can tell you there have been a couple of signings in the last week or so. I just want to jump into that real quick. Tyson Empey is back and signed. Hudson Elenick is back and signed. So some of the Tucson people will recognize that. There's a bunch of players that are have the possibility of being re-signed and joining them. Of course, it's a strange year for what's going on with Tucson and Arizona and their franchise. Tucson will actually have a bigger building with more capacity than the Arizona Coyotes will for the foreseeable future. So they're looking forward to getting started. I know Steve's going to do a great job with them. I'm just looking forward to seeing them on the ice, because through all the adversity, they keep hanging in there. And there's something to be said with that, and I think Steve is the right coach to run it. Thoughts, Nick?
It's interesting, Scott, when you talk about circumstances for a coach being hired twice, right? And again, first time, as you mentioned, we were talking off air about, sort of the first time with Potvin and sort of, I guess the challenges that arose from that. And, it's always interesting to me how, we see this at the National Hockey League level where you have coaches that are quote recycled, or, whether they're in the league, but then maybe they change hands. It's something to be said when the same organization, whether maybe it wasn't necessarily their choice per se, hires back a coach that tells you a little bit about the coach that he is, as well as the person that he is. I think it says a lot about who Potvin is. And as you mentioned, Scott, too, a little bit off air as well, when he was with this program not that far long ago, actually had some pretty good success with them. So it shows that they recognized it too, and maybe perhaps give him another shot that he well deserves.
Yeah, totally agree. Steven, you know about recycled coaches. You've been with me through the Steve Potvin days. Your thoughts?
Yeah. It's it's unusual that happens, but it does happen on occasion. I think the Ducks did it. I think with Randy Carlyle, I believe he was coached for a long time, and then he got rid of him, and then they brought him back for a period of time. Or maybe I have it reversed with Bruce Boudreau, who's been around a lot of different teams. But so it happens where you feel like you're going to bring a guy in and do it. I mean, we see coaches get recycled with other teams, and occasionally you see a coach go back to the team. But in this case with Potvin, he never left the team, and he just kind of he got promoted to the head coach, then he got demoted, and then he got promoted again. So, I mean, that happens in a lot of businesses, and sometimes people will say, well, gee, I mean, you had me up here, now you're demoting me. Why? What's my worth? And they leave. But it shows that he stuck it out. And I think before the show, you shared an insight on why he stuck it out with the Roadrunners. Talking about that, it shows an example for the players that face perseverance and through their careers and stuff. And this is something that if he was just to give up and leave after a little bit of that, it wouldn't be a good example. So kudos to him, and I think, and sometimes it can lit a fire, and now he's going to be extra motivated, because of that. And now, as we said on the show, it's not to give up that chair, to sit down, maybe tie yourself nice and tight, so they can't, you're not forced to give it up again.
Well, here's the reason he's going to keep it is he's a great players coach. All the players love to play with him. A lot of the guys that are playing with the Coyotes or have moved on have said that he was really instrumental in their development. He helped them through tough times, not only on the ice but off the ice. He helped them when they were maybe discouraged and thought they deserved a shot at the NHL and didn't get it. So, I mean, I can go a handful of names that he told me that he dealt with directly, but I don't want to throw those out there without his permission. So we won't. I promise we will get him on because he is a fantastic communicator. I know he'll want to come on and talk Tucson Roadrunners hockey. So we won't wait too long before I reach out and bring Steve Potvin on. Again, big congratulations to him for getting that head job. It doesn't really matter whether you're a head coach in the AHL, the ECHL, the NHL. A head coach is a head coach, guys. It is what it is. There's not many of them. And when you get to lead a program, that says something about you and your character.
100%.
Okay, Nick, who you want to talk about? You got 3 teams, so who do you want to start with?
Start with San Diego. They made the biggest news, I would think, this week. Again, the minor league affiliate of the Anaheim Ducks. Now, Anaheim made the bigger splash last week with the signing of John Klingberg to that 1-year deal, and the Gulls making the biggest acquisition, I would think, in the American Hockey League. They stole away Justin Kirkland of the Stockton Heat. And for those folks who don't know this name in hockey, well, you're going to get used to this guy, right? Essentially saying that Anaheim was at the top of his list. He posted career highs in goals with 25, with assists 23, and points 48, leading Stockton, again, that first place finish in the Pacific Division. 12 points in 13 postseason games, so 7 goals, 5 assists. So holy cow. You talk about those players that can kind of maybe bring you up another level. This one is a really, really good get for San Diego, and for Justin to be wanting to go to a program too. That says a lot about where the goals are headed and what he thinks about maybe their depth. And we mentioned before, watch out for this goal squad. I think now you got to watch them out a little bit more. Again, this signing just announced just a couple of days ago there from San Diego.
Let me tell you my interaction with Kirkland, and Steven knows this as well. He's got a great nickname. It's Costco. and the fans in Stockton loved him. I mean, every time he touched the puck, there were Costco chants going on. So if you don't get it, Kirkland being the homemade product of, if you will, of Costco. But I thought that was great. That was my first, and I couldn't figure it out right away. I was kind of like, what are these people talking about? Then it dawned on me, and from that point forward, Kirkland known as Costco to the Stockton fans, which of course are no longer. They are now the Calgary Wranglers. So
now Costco needs to. Well, I guess Costco needs to sign a deal with Mr. Kirkland, and of course,
wouldn't that be cool? I'd love it.
Yeah.
1 year, 2-way deal for Kirkland down there in San Diego. He mentioned that he enjoyed the atmosphere as a visiting player with the fans. That even as a when you can appreciate the fans from an opposing building, I think that says something about Pechanga Arena. We talked about venues a couple of weeks ago, Scott, and how Pechanga just seems to always draw a good crowd. And then he also mentioned that, with his success on the ice too, that he credits his off-season workout program that he had last year. Can it continue with this off-season? And, when you have a career year and you're, a really good contributor in the postseason, again, almost a point per game player in the postseason, you're doing some things right. So I know Anaheim and San Diego is just salivating at having this player in their lineup. So it's going to be real good news for the Gulls.
Plus, it's San Diego. Who doesn't want to spend some time in San Diego? Stockton, San Diego. Well, or now Calgary, but Calgary, San Diego.
I'll give him a tip. Mission
Scott
Beach
went to Stockton. Scott went to Stockton. You can attest.
Hold on. Mission Beach is great in San Diego, but go a little farther north, get up to Laguna, and that's where you can enjoy it. A quiet beach, a great beach. Laguna Beach is my place, folks. I would be there 24/7 if it were an option. Congratulations to the Gulls and Mr. Kirkland for picking up a new home to play.
Plus, there's a few Costco's in San Diego, I'm sure.
Yeah, he'll find his way.
He'll find his way.
All right,
he should at least get a free
membership. More from them, or
he should at least get a free membership to Costco. I mean, he should at least get a free membership to Costco.
I think they can work that out. You got anything else, Nick, or do you want to move on to Stevens first?
Let's go on to Steven, because that was really the only big news out of San Diego this week. Nothing too much, but I mean, still pretty gigantic news on the player moving parts. Although one piece of news, it's still pretty significant.
Okay, Steven, who you got?
We're going to start with San Jose on my end here. We're going to start with a couple of signings the Barracuda did this past week. On the 10th, this came out. The Barracuda signing Luke Johnson and defenseman Derek Pouliot, 2 American Hockey League contracts. Yeah, Derek Pouliot, of course, spent some time with the Henderson Silver Knights a little bit last season. Also, Johnson played 23 games with Manitoba last season. 3 goals, 7 assists. He had 2 goals, 4 assists, and 2 assists in 4 games during the Calder Cup playoffs. So it's he's a good player, of course. Grand Forks, North Dakota native. Johnson is. We go to Pouliot.
You want me to tell you about his family? I can go deep into his family.
I'm sure
you
can, Scott.
I want to hear this. Yes, the insider scoop. We should just start calling you Bob McKenzie here, Scott. I mean, seriously.
The Johnson,
who, by the way, has a birthday today, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations. Happy birthday. The Johnson name is synonymous with Grand Forks and North Dakota hockey. I think every Johnson that's ever has been through the North Dakota program. So Luke being one of those guys that worked his way through it again, and now is getting a chance to play in the NHL. There's also a little bit of a connection between the University of North Dakota and Grand Forks and Winnipeg, Manitoba, the home of the Manitoba Moose. It's not far, as Nick can attest. It's only about 90 miles up interstate. What interstate is it? 29.
That's 29, yeah.
That's 29. That'll get you into Winnipeg. And again, nice move for him to go from the freezing cold of Winnipeg to the not so cold San Jose and a new building. Okay,
yeah,
Steve,
yeah.
I didn't want to steal your thunder, but you said a Johnson, and I had to throw something.
Hey, it's fine. We need all the expertise we can get. But we go to Pouliot, a little bit about Pouliot. Of course, 42 games last season with Henderson. He had 2 goals, 17 assists. He also played in 11 games between Vegas and Seattle last season, which I didn't realize he played some time with Seattle, but I guess he did. Four assists. He's had 239 games in the AHL with Henderson, Lehigh Valley, San Antonio, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. 32 goals, 110 assists. So he's also played in the All-Star Classic in 2015 and 2020. So he's got quite some AHL experience there. Of course, he was a 2012 draft pick, 8th overall pick, Pouliot was, so he's pretty high up. And, of course, has played in 213 NHL games with Pittsburgh, Vancouver, St. Louis, Vegas, Seattle, with 8 goals and 44 assists. So this was a great pickup for the Barracuda. Of course, he'll be playing in that new arena, which is got a time-lapse video, which I just watched a little bit before we start recording this. It's out on the websites and stuff. It's coming along very well. Looks like it's just about done. I think this was the month it was supposed to open up. Of course, the rookie tournament is fast approaching. About a month from now, San Jose, of course, and we'll be there, and hopefully, if all things works out, and the rookie tournament will take place up there. So it's got to be very close if it's not already done, so it can be ready to have that in just about a month from now.
Exciting stuff in San Jose.
And we'll find a way to San Jose, no question.
Oh, nice! I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming eventually. We'll find a way. All right, I'm going to get mine out of the way easy. I started with Tucson. I got the Colorado Eagles next. Guys, you'll appreciate this. The biggest news out of Colorado land today, or this week, I should say, 2 days ago, they announced the 2022-23 Pioneer Press Colorado Eagles Chicks were announced. So the Chicks are back. They're ready to go. They all hatched. It's gonna be a wonderful thing. If you haven't been to a game at Loveland, they are a big part of the before, after, and during intermission breaks and everything. So congratulations to the I don't know how many there are. There are a stack of them though, and that's a coveted spot. I talked with a few of them last year, and they really work hard to earn a position on the Colorado Eagles Chick squad. So, as I was saying, the thing that I love about AHL hockey is the fact that they're always doing something. The Colorado Eagles 3 days ago, and I don't know how many of you guys knew this, but it was National Left-Handers Day. So they featured some of their left-handed players. Yes. Stephen likes that one. So that was pretty cool. They're always talking about the fact that they want everybody to know every day's got a meaning, like Tongue Out Tuesday. So they catch one of their players with a tongue out. Jumping into the weekend or walking into the weekend is always a big theme for them. They're also talking about after 20 years in Loveland, they moved their offices slightly down the street to Windsor. I think it's like 10 miles to Windsor, Colorado. So new offices for the Eagles. We talked about the number of players that left all at one time that earned opportunities to play, maybe get two-way contracts, as Nick was mentioned earlier. And so I was a little worried about what they were going to be able to put together this year. But boy, is it coming together nicely. Cameron Wright, the former Denver star, will be there. Sampo Ranta, former Minnesota Gopher, really getting a chance to shine up there. Wyatt Ahmet, the Minnesota State product, really solid defenseman who I think, as of right now, would be the first call-up defensive-wise for the Avalanche. So that's not a bad feather in the cap if you can be the first call-up should you be needed with the Stanley Cup champions. So we'll see what happens on there. They do have some different contracts that they signed. A lot of names you probably don't know, but you probably will become very familiar with down the road. So they're thrilled about it. They're also very thrilled to finally have a name for their first opponent, the Calgary Wranglers. They played it up a long time with who are we going to play? ? What's the name of this team ? So they went a long way with that. They did announce on August 2nd that they're just 1 month closer to the hockey season, which again they played on that. They talked about all of their players coming back, and they're hiring interns. It's a nonstop business, and I don't think people that go to AHL games really realize the amount of work that gets in gets put in by the people behind the scenes to make this all go during the season. And I've mentioned it many times. Colorado is one of the best. Steven's experienced it. Nick, you know what it's like as well. But thoughts on Colorado, anybody?
Scott, when the Avalanche head coach came out and said that they're built for a 5-year deep run, some of the names that you mentioned make that very believable on it. The depth that they have that they can call up. If it's sort of that dark horse of an organization. And Minnesota Wild fans, up until recently, they had a pretty thin prospect pool. Now they have one of the deepest in the entire NHL. Now, there's certainly not a Stanley Cup contender maybe yet on the NHL level, but Jared Bednar can really sleep easy if he's got, some injuries, like you said, Wyatt Ahmet, Sempo Ranta. He's got guys that are ready to come up and to contribute immediately. So to me, if you can get that streamline between your American Hockey League team and your NHL team, that bodes success for everybody. It means that you're developing well, that you've got the right guys coming in and signing that play the right way, that play the same game that you're looking to play. Just how cool is that to have an organization that's that cohesive from both levels at the NHL and AHL level? And then for a long time, a lot of organizations that didn't used to be that way. And now it's almost becoming a necessity to make sure that, especially at the upper club level, the big boys, that, they can fight through whatever injuries they may have. I mean, Steven, you would know, Vegas had a little trouble dressing some guys this last past season. Granted, some of that was injury related and some of it also was cap terrorism related. So, I'll leave that alone. But I mean, but in theory, Steven, you almost see the opposite, right? When, you don't have the depth necessarily in your American Hockey League level, it can help, or excuse me, does kind of hurt. And with Vegas falling apart at the end, they could have used some of that better depth to maybe help them get them over the hump.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. And it's, I mean, that's one thing. The Golden Knights had certainly a test of that with the depth in their organization. And of course, they traded kind of away some of their depth, organizational depth, when they're trying to get some of these high prized possessions that end up, or some of the ones that end up are now dealing with injuries themselves. So, when you trade away some of your top prospects to get these big players, and then they of course get hurt and can't play. Yeah, that's a double whammy there, and so Vegas certainly has experienced some of that for sure, and kept them out of the playoffs.
Well, one final comment on the Eagles, and then we'll move on. You mentioned, Nick, the cohesiveness and things, and a lot of AHL teams have now moved closer to their parent NHL clubs just for that cohesiveness. The fact that they can share goaltender coaches sometimes, they can do different things like that makes sense. But the uniqueness, especially here in Colorado, is the Avalanche have their base, and the Eagles have their base. Yeah. They're only 55, 60 miles apart, but man, the northern Colorado people have really adopted, and have for years, no matter what level they've played at, adopted the Eagles and said, this is our franchise and we're going to support them. And the players recognize it. I've asked several of them the same question, like, is this kind of an organizational thing? And they go, well, yes and no. We understand we want to play a certain way to fit in with the Avalanche way, but when we come here to the rink, we're Eagles, and the fans support us like we're Colorado Eagles. So that's cool. That's really a cool thing in my estimation. Nick, on to you. Who do you got?
So let's go up the valley, shall we say? We're talking Coachella Valley. So, right. So a couple of big announcements. Nothing too crazy. No really big player movement signings, at least at the AHL club.
No Colorado Eagles chicks?
No chicks, unfortunately.
Okay.
We talked about Fuego, their new mascot, last week. But their big announcement is actually for their first 4 games of their existence. So they're actually going to be doing 1 game at Climate Pledge Arena. So again, the home of the Seattle Kraken, and then a few other games at the Seattle Ice, the Kraken Ice Complex. So a couple against Abbotsford. The second game against Abbotsford is at Climate Pledge Arena, and then they're welcoming the Calgary Wranglers at Angel of Winds Arena, and that I believe is the home of the is that the Seattle Thunderbirds? Yes, it is, if I recall correctly. So the
Everett Silvertips.
Everett Silvertips. Okay, so at the end of it, picking a couple of spots where hockey has been in the community and sort of kind of welcoming in Coachella. I thought that was kind of neat. Scott, you talk about community with Colorado and Loveland, and granted, Coachella, this is merely a sort of a vacation stay for them as they're finishing Acrisure Arena down there in Coachella Valley. But I do like the fact that they're trying to mix in not only the Seattle home, but also the ice complex, but also paying a little bit of tribute to junior hockey. They're really trying to, again, get the community engaged. I really think this is smart, not only marketing, but this is really good fan engagement too on the part of the Seattle Kraken organization.
Yeah, I agree. Steven, thoughts on Coachella Valley?
Yeah, I think it's a great, as Nick said, it's a great opportunity to kind of market the team and market the whole organization and have the opportunity to showcase this team in different markets. Right, we're seeing that at the NHL level a lot with these preseason games going to different cities that are not the traditional cities of the teams involved. LA is going to play a game in their AHL city, Ontario. The Golden Knights are going to they're going to be involved with the Kings in Utah, and on Idaho they're going to play a game, first NHL game in Idaho in 25 years. So it's going to be so that's, you've seen at the NHL level, and this is an opportunity at the AHL level to have a team that's their arena's not ready, so their parent club is a chance to kind of show them off up there in the Pacific Northwest with playing in Climate Pledge, the home of the Kraken, also the I guess the practice facility, the Iceplex, I guess, and then where the Everett team plays, so in the WHL. So it's a great opportunity. I think it only can be beneficial. I think for the instead of just saying you're going to play all road games. I mean, they at least have a chance to be somewhat of a home team, even though they're not home yet. But they'll be involved in it. They'll get a chance to get a taste of. Especially that game at the Climate Pledge, that'd be cool for those players involved in that, because you're playing in
really
an
cool.
NHL facility, and so that's exciting there. So it's like the Silver Knights had an opportunity when they didn't have Dollar Loan Center yet, and they got to play some games at T-Mobile in addition to the Orleans and stuff. So it's always a great opportunity when you get to do those sort of things.
And of course, the Arizona Coyotes get to play in a college rink. Anyway,
yeah.
Exactly.
Hold on, Nick. I got two comments quickly, Nick, and then you can jump into it. The first comment is, I'll be honest, Coachella Valley announced they were going to be a franchise, and they really flew under the radar for a long time. I was concerned. About how they were going to come out, but I think they've come out very, very well. I think the arena is going to be really good. The other thing is they're probably one of the franchises that are farthest. Bakersfield and Edmonton would also be another one, but they're a little farther. But I think that's good. I think that's good for the growth. And the final thing I'll say is that kudos to Gary Bettman, who doesn't get very many kudos anymore, but what he did with Vegas and Seattle coming in as new franchises, and the requirements that he put that they need to build ice surfaces and cultivate the youth in their communities. Vegas certainly took it to heart. Stephen can attest to the number of arenas that have been built and are being built. I still shake my head at how Bill Foley was able to get done what he got done, and now Seattle doing the same thing, building these rinks and getting kids involved, and that's where you're going to grow the game. All right, Nick,
100%. And that's speaking of arenas, right? The first few seats have been installed inside Acrisure Arena. In fact, looking at the construction cam, there are now 7 sections fully installed on the eastern side of the arena. So starting to get some of those finishing touches per se, Scott. As far as the recognizable things in an arena, I would imagine when the seats are done, you're going to start to see the suites kind of get finished up, and then I think you're really going to feel it when the scoreboard starts to get hung. Now, mind you, it's not a center hung scoreboard. It's a east wall. It's a very giant, big wall with some ribbon beams that they're going to have installed, and then boards and glass. So, and then hopefully a fresh sheet of ice here in about a couple of months. So the stadium continues to make progress. From what I understand, it's on time, which is always good, and starting to take its familiar NHL hockey shape here, Scott. So making progress there towards their December 18th home opener again down there just outside Indio, California.
Okay, Steven, what do you got next?
I think we'll go down to not that far from me in Henderson and Vegas. We'll talk some Henderson Silver Knights action. They had a couple of signings this week, or actually the parent club Golden Knights did, but it does involve players that would spend a majority of their time with the Silver Knights. I'm just trying to get to it here. It had to do with Paul Cotter and Jake Lecision. I'm trying to find the release here, but
and by the way, when you posted that on Twitter, people were loving it. I've got several people that have said Jake Lecision's coming back. We love it. They love his style and his game, don't they?
Yeah, I'm just glad a few people follow me on Twitter and actually by what I tweet. That makes me feel good, I guess.
And Stephen, while you're looking for that too, a lot of this made possible with some unfortunate news. Robin Lehner, again, is presumably out for the entire 2022-23 season with hip surgery. So, you talk about questions in net. You almost want to say that position's now wide open. So, they'll have, was it $5 million they'll be able to put on LTIR, and then plus another $7.6 million from the Shea Weber contract. So they're going to be able to spend over $12.6 million over the cap. So for those complaining about the Tampa Bay Lightning from a few years ago, Vegas is essentially copying the proverbial playbook, but definitely necessary.
I'm sure they'd rather have a healthy Leonard than to play the LTIR game. So people always, the critics are always speculate that Vegas is doing this intentionally, and I can assure you that they are not, because I'm sure they'd rather have Leonard instead of the situation they're going to find themselves in with who's going to be the guy in net. But okay, here's the stuff on Lecision and Cotter. I don't know why I needed the release. It's basically they're just signed to league minimum deals for the next 3 years. Again, these are NHL contracts, so they're going to be the average annual value of NHL minimum salary, which this year is $750,000. I think it goes up in a season or two, so they'll get whatever the minimum is. But of course, Lecision, 41 NHL contests last year with Vegas, so we got to play quite a few games, actually half of the season. You think about 82 games and 41 of them with Vegas, 21-22 season. Of course, he's also played in the AHL, 137 games over 4 seasons with Henderson and Chicago. With 46 points as well. So he's of course he's been with the organization since the beginning. Drafted in the 2017 NHL entry draft in the second round from the 62nd overall. Cotter, who I love Cotter. I love his game. I love the way he plays. He's one of my favorite players to watch on the Silver Knights, Golden Knights, and great guy to talk to too. I've had a chance to talk with him after games before and in media availabilities, and he's got a great personality. But Cotter played 7 games in the NHL last season with the Golden Knights over the last season, of course. He's a Michigan native. He made his debut in Vegas on November 9th last year against the Kraken. And then he scored his first goal in his second game, the following game against Minnesota at T-Mobile Arena. And the excitement when he scored that goal was just palpable. Mark Stone's pretty expressive when he scores, and certainly Paul Cotter was when he got that first goal. Obviously, you're excited to get that first goal. So, of course, he's also played with a big part of the Silver Knights team last year, 53 games last season with Henderson, 4th on the team in scoring with 34 points. That's 19 goals, 15 assists. And, of course, he was selected by Vegas in the 2018 draft in the 4th round. So, both guys that have been mainstays in the Golden Knights organization since 2017, 2018. Both got some good decision, a little bit more, but both got some time in the NHL last year. And I guess we'll have to see how it plays out, but it looks like they're going to be high on the totem pole this year and probably will be with the big club, obviously, with these deals. But if not, they'll be great. They'll be great contributors again to Henderson as well.
I'll tell you a couple of things I want to comment on. At $750,000 or whatever the league minimum is this year, they'll be big factors in Vegas. They'll be well liked amongst their teammates because they will take up some ice time and not cost a lot of dollars. So that's first and foremost. And that's certainly not to take away from their talent because they're both very talented hockey players. Okay, now I'm going to stir up some controversy. You guys, Nick's already smiling. When the Robin Lehner signing happened a few years ago now, and nobody would really acknowledge it. I did, but nobody really wanted to acknowledge me either, so I'm used to that. Anyway, Robin Lehner to me is a great backup goaltender, but it's no secret. He's dealt with some mental health issues. he's never shied away from it. He's talked about it several times. He's made points about it. That's a hard position to be in, a goaltender in the NHL and be the number one guy. Now, I know why Pete DeBoer wanted him. It's because he's a big stay-at-home type goaltender that doesn't flop around and, lets the puck hit him and react off of it type thing. You put that contrast with Marc-Andre Fleury, who was a spectacular save. And again, nothing against either one of them, but Marc-Andre had to play that way because of the size that he was and is. So he was required to be agile, move around. Robin Lehner, different style goalie. But I think the big thing was thrusting Robin into that number one role, releasing Marc-Andre, not getting anything for him, and letting him go, basically. I think that's when this whole downfall started. And the other thing is, Marc-Andre was such a good locker room guy. I know when I got in the locker room, he always wanted to talk, and the media guys were always trying to curb him because he would tend to say things in French and in English, and you never really knew. I think they were worried about how it might be misconstrued as a media guy, so they were very conscious about who was asking them questions and how they were being worded and all that. But he was a fantastic locker room guy. And the other one that was that way for Vegas was Nate Schmidt. So those two being gone really lost something in that locker room, in my estimation. But I feel bad for Robin being out. It's tough when you got out of surgery, but it's one of those things. I've told Steven many times, I think Logan Thompson deserves a shot. He got some playing time. I think he's earned it. He's been in the system. He's worked with the goaltending coaches. I know they got a new one now, but he's earned his opportunity. And I think if you let him run with it, he's going to turn out really well.
Yeah, and this is his opportunity. I mean, if you're gonna give him a chance, this is the chance. I mean, you're going to give him this opportunity, and he's either going to perform or, it's not going to be much more that you're going to see out of him because he's going to get his opportunity. The other goaltenders they have is Michael Hutchinson, who they signed in this offseason. So, he's somebody that has some NHL games experience. So that's exciting. And then, you look at the other, you got Brossoit, which we don't know if he's going to be healthy when the season starts. So the goaltending situation is very interesting to see what happens. But
Speaking of seeing what happens, Steve, we lost Scott here just momentarily. So let's do this, Steven. We're a little bit long in terms of going without a break. So let's take a quick break and we'll be back here in just a moment.
And we'll see
the NCHC, where the best in college hockey compete, and the numbers back it up. In the past 8 years, 6 teams in national title games that are run of 4 consecutive national championships, 2 Hobie Baker winners, and 46 All-Americans. More than 70 alumni in the NHL with multiple Stanley Cup champions. A leader and innovator in the sport, including a one-of-its-kind pod. One conference, creating champions and improving the game. This is the NCHC.
Really, JR? You think you can still do this?
I'm focused.
You're way too old to hit that target from there.
I've been listening to everything you said. It's been running through my head, locked and loaded.
All right, still got it. Still got it.
Who's old now?
More than 140 live games from the nation's best college hockey conference. Ready for you wherever you are, however you want to watch. Your favorite team is on NCHC.TV. On your phone, tablet, or stream to your TV. Subscribe now to watch the best in college hockey at NCHC.TV. If it's NCHC hockey, it's on NCHC.TV.
All right, we're back from break, folks. If you lost me for a minute, I lost myself for a minute. I'm going to peel back. I'm going to peel back the onion here.
We're happy you're back, Scott.
And let people know what happened. But there, we have a chat on our screen, and I was seeing the chat, and we were talking about when break was coming up. So I went to the chat, saw the chat, said, "Yeah, it's a good idea to have a break," and then somehow disconnected myself. So you know what? It happens when you're the old man of the group. Sometimes you stumble.
You really wanted to take a break, because
Yeah.
you just wanted to leave the show completely.
Something like that. Okay,
Let's help him take a break, right? Let's help him take a break. I'm next here, Scott. So
All right, Nick.
sit back, relax, and avoid, I suppose, position the screen out of touching range, I guess, is the next
I'm not
motto.
going to touch it. Sit back.
So one last team that I have to cover is the Ontario Reign. A couple of things going on with them. Biggest thing for them is no signings per se, but kind of a cool, I suppose, a fan type thing for their 15th year. They're offering $15 tickets for opening weekend. So I mean, you said it in weekends past here in the show, Scott, that the American Hockey League, it's an approachable ticket, especially for families. You're still getting really good hockey. You're getting a really good experience for the entire family. So Friday, October 14th against Abbotsford, and then Sunday the 16th when the Bakersfield Condors are in town for the Ontario Reign, $15 per ticket. So I think that's pretty cool. And then how about this too? Before the season starts, September 10th is going to be the 5K run and walk down there at Redondo Beach. So this is a charitable event, which I think is always pretty cool. It supports benefiting the King's Care Foundation. So looking for a little bit of time to go out, maybe do a 5K. They're also offering a virtual 5K, Scott. So if you are still a little nervous about whether it's the pandemic or just want to do a 5K at home, they do offer a virtual 5K as well. So Ontario also, again, getting the community involved here just to either before the season as well as trying to welcome them back in style again with those nice $15 tickets for opening weekend.
Okay, I'm offended already. You said that I should do the virtual.
Yeah.
That
includes me too,
exactly?
Scott.
Just,
that includes me too, Scott.
What does that entail exactly? You just walk in place there on with the computer screen and right in front of you, and walk on a treadmill, maybe.
I think at some point, Scott, you're going to have to get the Oculus or whatnot, and as you walk, you'll be walking through the streets of downtown Los Angeles or along the beach.
That's true.
One of these times.
That's right. With virtual reality, you can be anywhere now in the metaverse. That's right.
Well, let me also throw out Redondo Beach is great, but just go a little farther south to Laguna Beach. Laguna Beach is where it's at, folks. Nobody will bother you. It's beautiful. Anyway.
This segment is not sponsored by the Laguna Beach Chamber of Commerce.
Start sending jets anytime they want. I'll take them. All right, Steve,
I like Redondo Beach. I had family living for a while and made many trips to Redondo Beach. I'm a Redondo Beach fan, but Laguna Beach is fine too. A lot of the beaches there are just dandy. Huntington Beach, Newport Beach. I've been there too. Those are nice as well.
Yeah, Laguna is beautiful.
We're going to send this clip to the Laguna Beach Chamber of Commerce.
All right. You have any thoughts on Ontario? You've been there or by there.
I've been by there. Yeah. Yeah. They haven't let me in yet, but no, I haven't tried to get in, but no, it's a great place. Again, we've talked about it before. It's it's a great place to watch hockey there in the Inland Empire in California. And it's, they do a good job. They have a great relationship with the Kings, obviously, and it's like some the AHL teams really take the mold of their NHL teams, and certainly Ontario does that with the Kings and how those teams work together and stuff. So Ontario, of course, last year right at the top of the division, and so they should be hopefully a good team again this year, right there. Although they've lost some key pieces, but always the shuffling is going on, and it should be fun. So it'll be exciting to see them in action this year there.
Okay, who you got next? You got one left, right?
I do, yes. That would be Bakersfield, and I think I have something on them here. Bakersfield has signed a few players, 5 to AHL deals. Let me put my glasses on for this because
just a few, just a full line.
just a full line. 5 players to the American Hockey League. I'm gonna do this so you don't see my forehead, just my forehead at least. To American Hockey League contracts. Graham McPhee is going to be joining the Condors. He signed a 1-year, one-way deal. Matt Bodens, Drake Remza, Mark Rassel, Samuel Dove McFalls. They all have 1 year, two-way AHL contracts. Some have already been with the team before. Some are returners. But McPhee, of course, is the son of George McPhee, who's the president of operations here at the hockey operations of the Vegas Golden Knights.
Never heard
so I'm
of
sure
him.
he never heard of him. 33 games over 2 seasons with the Condors, so this is more of a re-signing, I guess, and registered 11 points. Of course, he was drafted by Edmonton in the 2016 NHL draft. Beaudens, this is his 4th professional season. He split the previous 3 seasons between the AHL, the ECHL. He actually spent some time here in Henderson, with Henderson in Chicago. So
everybody spent time in Henderson.
And Henderson's only been around for a couple of years, so they're certainly making their mark in the AHL for sure. Rhymes, this is his 5th professional season. He's been with Hershey before, played with the Comets last season. He has 14 points in 87 career AHL games with Ontario and Hershey, and was a draft pick of LA in 2017. We're talking now about Rassel. This is his 1st professional season. He appeared in 2 regular season games and 6 Kelly Cup playoff games for Fort Wayne. Again, the Vegas connection, because they were their ECHL affiliate up until this summer. Of course, he also went to the University of New Brunswick. He's 24, was a teammate of James Hamblin with the Medicine Hat Tigers of the Western Hockey League. Okay, and then you got Dove McFalls, 4 points there, 11 games with Grand Rapids, the end of last season. So some good pickups also played.
So what are you saying, Stephen, that Bakersfield is reloading? Is that what you're telling us?
Seems that way. It seems that way. But it should be, again, another again, it's just a lot of these teams looking to retool and we feel Bakersfield was kind of in the middle of the pack last season in the division, so they're looking to obviously be one of the top teams in the division this year, and they've got some good players here that can do that at the AHL level.
And there's some ties, our NCAA ties. Carter Savoy signed a contract, a 2-way deal, I think, with Edmonton and Bakersfield. Who's our goaltender from the Bulldogs?
Ryan Fanti.
Ryan Fanti also will be there. And, of course, they are the affiliate of the Edmonton Oilers, which is not a bad organization. They got a guy named McDavid that kind of leads the way for them. So, okay, I'll kind of wrap it up on this, guys, because I think the common theme here, and this is kind of what I was hoping we would get at, is that the AHL is becoming a very strong league. The competition between all the teams we mentioned and all the teams we cover, among the other teams, is becoming tighter and tighter and more competitive. The other thing is, I think we've made the point that the cohesiveness between the AHL franchise and their NHL parent is also very close. And I think that's improving the game of hockey at the professional level, right? I mean, that's what you want, right? You want to be able to take guys if you need them and bring them up from the AHL and have them make an immediate impact in the NHL, and vice versa. If a guy's struggling in the NHL, you want him to go down and not be, I'm not sure what the right word is, but you don't want him to go down and feel like he's been quote unquote demoted. You just want him to go down and work on a few things. And great example of that was Montreal last year with their star, and you guys know who I'm talking about, that lit the place on fire when he came out of Wisconsin, and then came back this year, and for whatever reason couldn't find his scoring touch. They sent him down to the AHL. He comes back and lights the NHL on fire again. Anybody know who that is?
Cole Caulfield.
Yeah. Double
C.
C.
Is that worth 500 points, or
yes,
do I get the daily double? Okay, good.
Yeah. Love it. So, yeah, good conversation, guys. Anybody got some final words for us?
Yeah, I think I'll finish with one. Speaking of Edmonton Oilers, a little bit of disheartening news. Ben Stelter, one of their big super fans, unfortunately passing away from his battle. Was it "Play La Bamba, baby"? I think was his big catchphrase.
Play La Bamba, baby.
I mean, just unbelievably tragic story. Kudos to the Oilers organization for, really sort of adopting him, and in the statement they released, I thought it was very eloquent, very emotional how, they said, essentially Ben taught us, so many things about life, and just an incredible kid who obviously gone way too fast. And really do like to see, how, you can have an impact in your community, and more so the community can have an impact as well on the organization. So had to mention that because I think that was definitely relevant. So thoughts and prayers go out to the Ben Stelter family.
Good stuff, Nick. And he had a reach here in Colorado, a real big reach in Vegas with Marc-Andre Fleury, my good buddy, who just turned 14 the other day, by the way. But Bark had a big impact, and still does have a big impact on pediatric cancer patients in Vegas. So that was really a nice touch, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I certainly didn't mean to miss it, but it did slip me a little bit. So thanks, Nick. I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We'll say goodnight on another episode of the Pro Hockey West Report. Ask everybody to tune in again next week. We'll have more exciting stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll bring on a live guest next week that can visit with us. So you'll see 4 boxes instead of 3, and then I'll only disconnect once or twice.
Just once or twice.
All right. Good night, everybody.